The entire electronic matrix is completely fried. To replace the whole system, it'll cost $200,000 to fix.
200,000? That's more than the car is worth. Are you insane?
Hold on a second. Don't sign that paperwork just yet. Your computer reads the symptoms, not the cause. The only thing actually broken is this $14 relay.
Oh my God, it's completely fixed. You just saved me a fortune.
Just doing my job. Always check the small things first.
The Bentley dealership smelled like leather and money and the quiet confidence of people who never checked price tags. Ryan Carter smelled like motor oil. He stood at the service desk in his worn gray work shirt, grease still under his fingernails from the job he'd left early, and watched the service manager, a polished man named Gerald Holt, slide a clipboard across the counter like he was delivering a verdict. "Total repair estimate," Gerald said, straightening his tie, "comes to $200,000. The woman beside Ryan, his client, Diana Voss, CFO of a mid-sized logistics company, owner of the troubled Bentley Bentayga sitting in Bay 4, made a sound like someone had pulled the air out of the room. $200,000, she repeated. The onboard diagnostic system is showing catastrophic failure across 4 interconnected modules, Gerald continued, gesturing toward a screen displaying a constellation of red warning icons. The ECU, the adaptive suspension controller, the active chassis system, and the primary sensor array. All 4 need full replacement. Factory-sourced components, specialist calibration, minimum 6 weeks. Diana turned to Ryan. "You said you could look at it first, before I authorized anything." Gerald's eyes moved to Ryan then. Really looked at him for the first time. The work shirt, the calloused hands, the absence of a suit. "And you are?" Gerald asked. "Ryan Carter." He picked up the clipboard and started reading. "I'm a mechanic." Gerald's expression did something careful and controlled. "This is a Bentley, Mr. Carter. The diagnostic systems alone require proprietary software, factory training, certified tools." Ryan nodded without looking up. "I know. Can I see the car?" Ryan hadn't planned on being a mechanic. He'd planned on being an engineer. He'd had the scholarship, the acceptance letter, the future arranged in a straight line, until his wife Sarah got sick during his 2nd year. He left school, worked, cared for her. When she passed, he was 29 years old with a 6-year-old daughter named Maisie, a rented house, and a set of tools that had somehow become the most reliable thing in his life. He built a reputation slowly, honestly. People brought him cars the dealerships had given up on, quoted into the impossible, and Ryan would sit with the problem the way he used to sit with engineering problems, quietly, methodically, without ego, until he found the answer. Diana had found him through a friend of a friend. She'd been ready to authorize the dealership repair until someone said, "Talk to Ryan first, just talk to him." Gerald walked him to Bay 4 with the energy of a man humoring someone he'd already dismissed. The Bentayga sat under fluorescent lights, dark navy, immaculate body, a $250,000 machine that currently couldn't be driven above 30 miles an hour without every warning light triggering simultaneously. Ryan walked around it once, slowly, not touching yet, just looking. Then he opened the hood. Gerald stood with his arms crossed. Behind him, a young technician named Marco Ree watched from a distance with his mouth slightly open, the way people watch something they can't categorize. Ryan pulled out his own diagnostic reader and connected it to the OBD port. The codes came up, he read them again. Then he crouched down and looked under the front wheel well. Pulled a small flashlight from his shirt pocket, shone it along the sensor wiring harness, and stopped. He stood up holding something small between 2 fingers, a crankshaft position sensor. The size of a lipstick cap with a hairline crack running along its housing. "That's it," Ryan said. Gerald stared at it. "That's not it. The diagnostic shows 4 separate system failures, because they're all connected to the same data loop." Ryan turned the part in the light. "This sensor is feeding corrupted positional data to the ECU. The ECU is sending error signals to the suspension controller trying to compensate. The suspension controller is flagging the chassis system. The chassis system is throwing sensor array warnings. It's a cascade. One bad input, 4 screaming outputs. Silence. A crankshaft position sensor would not cause... On a conventional system, maybe not. But Bentley's integrated drive dynamics platform runs all 4 of those modules off a shared data architecture. It's in their 2019 technical bulletin. Ryan looked at him evenly. Page 34. Marco quietly walked to a computer. Gerald didn't move. The part, Ryan continued, is a Bosch 02612107170, available at 3 auto parts stores within 5 miles of here. He paused. It costs about $14. Diana put her hand over her mouth. Not from shock, exactly. From the specific feeling of having nearly handed $200,000 to a man in a tie for a $14 problem. Marco, Gerald said, his voice very controlled, pull up that technical bulletin. Marco was already reading it. He looked up and his expression said everything Gerald's face was working hard not to say. Page 34. Marco confirmed quietly. Integrated module cascade. Crankshaft position sensor listed as primary fault trigger. The bay was very quiet. Ryan set the sensor down on the workbench. I can have this replaced in about 40 minutes, he said to Diana. I have the part in my truck. Diana looked at Gerald. Gerald looked at the sensor. The sensor just sat there. $14 of cracked plastic that had been masquerading as a $200,000 catastrophe. Why do you have a Bentley sensor in your truck? Diana asked. I don't. A small smile. I have a box of common sensors that cross-reference across 17 different makes. This one's a Bosch Universal Fit. I looked up the cross-reference on the drive over. He replaced it in 38 minutes. When he started the car, the dash was clean. No warnings, no errors. The engine settled into that particular quiet Bentley purr that meant everything was exactly right. Marco actually exhaled audibly. Diana sat in the driver's seat and gripped the steering wheel and looked like she might cry. Gerald stood at the edge of the bay with the clipboard still in his hand and said nothing for a long time. Finally, we would have found it eventually. Ryan was packing his tools. Sure, he said without turning around. Not unkind, just honest. Diana paid him for 2 hours of labor and the $14 part, then wrote a separate check that Ryan tried to refuse. I'm adding a finder's fee, she said. Non-negotiable. I just fixed a car. You saved me from a $200,000 mistake. She pressed the check into his hand. You didn't have to come. You came anyway. Ryan looked at the check. It was enough to cover Maisie's after-school program for the next year and a half. Thank you, he said simply. Diana smiled. Thank you, Ryan. He was pulling out of the dealership lot when his phone rang. The screen read, Maisie, school. Hey, Bug, everything okay? Dad, 7 years old, completely unconcerned with $200,000 Bentleys. Can we have pasta tonight? Yeah, he exhaled, smiled. We can have pasta. With the cheese on top? With the cheese on top. Okay, good. Love you, bye. The call ended. Ryan sat at the red light, tools rattling gently in the truck bed, afternoon sun coming through the windshield. Some problems look catastrophic until someone looks at them carefully enough. Without panic. Without ego. Then they're just a $14 part. A 40-minute fix. And dinner with your kid? The dealership updated its diagnostic protocol the following month. Marco left 6 weeks later and went to work for Ryan. The pasta, by all accounts, was excellent.